Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I have been spending the last couple of weeks really going through my past videos and adding captions to them, but as I was going through a lot of these old videos, especially when it came to my case study videos, I noticed that a lot of them were critiques, things that you shouldn't be doing, and just honestly kind of negative. And while I do think it is important to talk about things that you shouldn't be doing in your case study, I think we might get to a point where it's like, well, what is there left to actually do? So today in this video, I wanted to talk about 9 things that you can tangibly do right now in your case study in order to improve them. So really easy ways to improve your case study, like instantly, with examples. And if you do some of these things already, then that's great. And if you don't, then don't worry at all. I don't even do all of these things in my case studies. It's just a process. So no, I won't be talking about storytelling today because I feel like that deserves a video all on its own. And yes, I will still make a red flags video just to kind of like balance it out a little bit more. But for today, let's talk about 9 things that you should and can do in your case study right now. When I think of a case study, I see it as a medium for you to celebrate a design solution and a documentation of your journey. Whether it's for an event like celebrating graduating from your undergrad after like 6 long years of being stuck in there, or just enjoying one of the most beautiful cities in the world. We take pictures to solidify ourselves in a special moment. And when we look back at those photos, we can really recreate the sensation of being in that environment without really any effort at all. And when we include these pictures from our real life in our case study, we can easily transport ourselves back into that time and place. We give our readers the ability to see that we, as designers, had made a connection there, and that we have not forgotten about it. It's just something really special and precious to us. So not only do pictures help us jog our memory when we're in really nerve-wracking situations like an interview or in a presentation, they give us a really clear sense of ownership and responsibility to your work. The design solution that you came up with in your case study is something you can be confident in because you were there, you did the work, and you made those connections. So these pictures can be anything from sticky notes on a wall, they can be a really candid shot of your tester going through your prototype, as long as it's consented, of course, or even just like low fidelity sketches of your design. Anything that really shows you were present in the moment, you put real, human, genuine effort into your solution. Speaking of human, I want to say a huge thank you to you guys who watch my content, comment on my videos, and talk to me on Superpeer. It's because of you guys that I've really had to reflect on my career so far and like how I'm able to communicate my ideas in a more effective way. And especially with these case study videos, try as I might, after each one of them I always feel like there's something I still need to tell you or I couldn't get out everything that I wanted to say. But that's okay because I plan on making more videos. I think this kind of aligns to another positive thing that you can do for your case study, and that's just admitting that something went wrong, that things were difficult, and that you ended up making a mistake along the way. Whenever I read case studies and they jump from exercise to exercise pretty much seamlessly, I always feel just like a little bit doubtful, and it's because things rarely go according to Keikaku. So when I see that everything has worked perfectly, I'm kind of thinking at least one of these 3 things had happened. 1, you didn't actually do any testing or validation with your users. 2, your questions or your exercises were biased. Or 3, you just aren't telling the truth. There's nothing wrong with making a mistake. And even in a real life project with a client, there's nothing to be ashamed of by following up with an email if you have forgotten to ask something or if you just need more clarification on something that you didn't get a chance to do before. It's all part of the process, and with the clients that I've worked with, they're really understanding when you need to do this, and they actually really appreciate that you are honest and that you really value their feedback. So instead of writing out your paragraphs like, I did this exercise and found these insights, and then I did this exercise, try something like, I did this exercise because I wanted to find out from the users I was able to learn. This led me to believe. I validated this idea by. The first example leaves really little room for any feedback, and it almost gives you that feeling of you're just brute forcing your way through the research in order to get it done as quickly as possible. The second way, you take your time to actually explain, and you let the readers inside your head so that they can understand your decisions and your motives. This shows that you actually value the feedback from your users and it impacts your solution, which is exactly what user-centered design is. This follows really closely with including a retrospective at the end of your case study. I know I talk about this every single one of my case study videos, but it's only because I really just believe in it so much. To be better, we must honestly evaluate ourselves and reflect on our own journey and process. It's kind of like how athletes watch videotapes of their old matches, or in dance studios and martial arts studios, you have mirrors along the wall, so you can watch how you perform under different circumstances, reflect on it, and then find areas of improvement. Here are a few prompts that you can use in your case study retrospective. In this project, I learned. In the future, I hope too. This project made me realize. I want to bring back the example that we used to illustrate a good progression of your case study because it leads to my next point. So I have it up on the screen right now. In the example, I refrained from inserting any too specific exercises or research tools. Just like how our user groups are always going to be different, so should the exercises you choose be a unique process for each case study that you end up working on. So I'm not saying that if you do a persona in one case study, you can't use it for any other case study. Think of it as like those baby shape matching toys. A circle peg only fits a circle hole and no other shape. Our projects, because they are based on creating a solution for our users, could not and should not all fit the same mold each time. Each one is unique and requires a different strategy, which is why when I get questions on, for my case study, how many exercises should I do? Do I need to do these ones specifically? What should I include in my case study? And do I have to do all of them? It's really difficult for me to answer. To me, it feels the same as slapping on a template into a website builder without any customization and just deploying it like that. Like, sure, you finished off a website, but for a lack of a better term, it feels really robotic and it feels lifeless. As you're just starting out in UX, your toolbox of exercises and tools you know to use is going to be really small. But as you get more experience, you'll be able to identify which tool will give you the most conclusive result and which tool is appropriate for your user group at any given time. When it comes to how many exercises, once you get into a real life project, it's really not going to be something you have control over because you're going to have a client and they're going to have a timeline and also a budget. When you're working for yourself though, a rule of thumb that I like to think of is to do as many exercises you need to feel like you can be confident in your solution. If I had to put a number to it, I would expect at least 3 research tools at a bare minimum, provided you did testing before moving on to any sketches or prototypes or wireframes for a very junior level case study. So now maybe you are scrolling through your case study and thinking there's a lot that you need to add there. And I won't lie to you, case studies take up a lot of time and a lot of effort. I remember when I was writing out my deal lifecycle case study, it took me a good 2 full weeks of effort to do, and I am really proud of it. But I was only able to do it because of the immense amount of teamwork and collaboration and help between everyone I was on a team with. Working by yourself, it's not realistic to think that you can create something of the same magnitude. However, a great thing to acknowledge in your case study, even if you were the only person working on it, is that you weren't alone the entire time. Think of it this way. Did you really not get any help when uncovering some of these insights? Without the support and feedback from our users, our solution would be based on nothing but personal bias. And the time and attention that they took to answering our questions or testing out our prototype is really something that should be acknowledged and appreciated. And with this point, think about reading a case study from 2 different designers. One fills their case study with I, my, me, my, and the other use words like us, we, collectively, and together. Who would you want to work with? Remember that you do need to balance this out though. Insights that you gathered should be owned by you, as in, I found this insight surprising. Research exercises done with users and testers should be we, as in, we tested out the prototype and found. And any visual and research assets that were created by someone other than you should mention the designer, give them credit, and also make sure you consent with them that you're able to use it in your case study. Another way to do this that would also give you some more breathing space between the paragraphs of text that you include in your case study are to add quotes. I think quotes are a really powerful thing. They're memorable and they're impactful, and they give an element of storytelling to your case study. Usually, quotes are a really good method to use when supporting your insights when it comes to pain points, frustrations, and in a review of your final solution. It'll help you break out the paragraphs in your case study for your reader, and it'll also make it a lot more scannable for them too. Like in this example from my Accessibility in Enterprises case study, the quote from our stakeholder really helped frame the problem we were trying to solve. At this point, I want to talk about some of the visual changes that you can make to your case study in order to improve it. The first is to highlight boxes in your design to help users focus on what you're talking about. As we present our final solution in the case study, each element lives as a result of our research. And when we are explaining the reasoning behind our design choices, often our screens are so polished that it's really hard for a user or a reader to know what they should be looking at. This is also going to help against one of the pitfalls that I see a lot when reading case studies, and it's just when a designer puts out a high fidelity design onto the screen and they start listing out things that a reader can already see. For example, this is the homepage. I've included a navigation menu, thumbnails for the shows, and a title for each category. Sure, but a reader can see that, and it doesn't really give them any context to why you made those decisions. There's no why behind any of it, and it doesn't show that you've actually incorporated any of the findings from your research. Here's a better way to go about it by highlighting the design. The image highlights the thumbnails for the movies and shows available on Prime Video. Based on our research, I know I didn't really do any research for the redesign, but let's just pretend that I did for this example. We discovered that users were able to quickly identify whether a show would be something they wanted to watch or not. By having such large thumbnails, users were made to scroll for a significantly longer period of time until they find what they liked, which led to users feeling really frustrated and often switching to another platform. With these insights, we decided to make the thumbnails smaller so each screen would provide more options for shows for the viewer. By isolating key features, it's easier to get ourselves explaining the process we took to get to a certain design decision, helping us communicate our design thinking better to our readers. The next thing I want to talk about is movement. I think there's something so charming about animations, even if it's just a couple frames that are moving back and forth. Animations are a great way to bring attention to something on the screen, get your users more engaged with their page, and it shows a little bit of touch and polish and personality to your designs. While I'm not saying that every UX designer needs to pick up After Effects, a really easy way that you can do this is by just taking a screen recording of what it looks like to walk through your prototype. The less you are relying on your user to imagine the interaction between your system, the better it is. And the final thing that I want to talk about is putting your final solution into a mockup. I'm not sure why this isn't talked about a lot, but there's something different about seeing your design inside an actual mockup that makes it feel like a lot more realistic. There are so many different online resources where you can get mockups, and you can also create your own by using Figma. But I really do think it's good to show your final solution inside a mockup. It just seems like a lot more realistic instead of just an idea if you just have like a flat kind of file to it. And that brings us to the very end of our video, 9 tangible ways that you can make your case study better. Here's a breakdown of what we covered. Use real pictures, admit where things went wrong, and talk about how you fixed it, adding a reflection or a retrospective at the end of your case study, using the right tool for research, using we and talking about teamwork and collaboration, including quotes from your users, highlight areas in your solution to speak more in depth about it, incorporating movement, and presenting designs in a mockup. Timestamps are pinned in the comments below, and they are also in the description if you just want to jump around. Case studies are really hard, they take a lot of effort, and they're really time consuming, so I'm really just proud of you that you're doing this and taking that step for your UX career. Hopefully these ideas will help you as you create and evaluate your case studies. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you would like for me to personally look over your case study or your portfolio or just talk about your UX career in general, then be sure to check out the Superpeer link that I have in my description. I'm also working on something else for your case studies, but I think that's all I'll really mention about it for now. Thanks again. Make sure to like, comment, hit the bell, all that stuff if you want to see more UX content from me. Alright you guys, thank you so much. I will see you guys later. Bye!